Let's see what we can get done with an hour in the garden. The first thing I wanted to tackle was tying my peas back. I definitely should have gotten to it earlier because they were a bit of a mess, but better late than never. I just used some garden twine and wrapped it around the two posts of my wooden arbor. I just tied it with the simple shoelace tie so I can adjust it and remove it easily. I repeated the process with about a foot between each one all the way up the trellis. I did the same thing on both sides, and I'm just going to tuck the peas in as it grows. Another thing that I've been putting off is pulling out my kale. I planted this kale in the fall. I let it flower and go to seed. I'm not really interested in collecting the seeds, so I cut each one down to the base and I added them to my compost pile. This kale was enormous though. It was definitely taller than me. I kind of tucked it in the back of my garden, but it still managed to produce a ton of kale, and the flowers brought so many bees to the garden in early spring. I think I'm going to give this space to my raspberries since they're kind of invading it already, but I might tuck a couple of sunflowers in there as well. This is where I grew my sunflowers last year and they did really great. And the last thing I needed to do today was save my poor rhubarb plant. Raspberries are a really bad neighbor. They kind of intrude and will take up a lot of space. I let my raspberries grow crazy and they suffocated my rhubarb. If you don't want them in your space, the trick is to get them sooner than later. And these raspberries have already formed a really big root system. So I dug out the whole root ball and I'm going to put them in pots to give to my friends and family. There were some pieces that didn't have really established roots yet, but I just stuck them in the pot anyways. When I was digging up some of the raspberries, I accidentally pulled out my rhubarb as well. Not only was it suffocated, but then it was uprooted. So it was definitely not happy, which I totally understand, but I hope that it makes a full recovery. Since I already dug it up, I moved it a foot over so that it would be a little bit farther away from my raspberries. There is a wooden divider between my raspberries and this bed, but it doesn't seem to be stopping my raspberries at all. I ended up with a bunch of raspberry plants that I just divided between 3 pots. When I'm uprooting any plant, I make sure to put it in soil right away so that it has a smooth transition to its new home. I topped off each pot with a little bit of garden soil, and then I added some to the rhubarb plant as well. I ended the night by watering my greenhouse and a few of my raised beds, and just like that, my hour was done. Thanks for spending the evening in the garden with me.